Yo, what's up? I go by the name of Tanaflow, all the way from Brussels, Belgium, but representing the Philippines. And I'm a DJ, also a producer, I'm an event organizer, and this is my interview for Kultura House. I would still say the first one. The first one was really epic because it was when I discovered the scene here and this country. And I believe we were, I think, the only club or the only party that was happening during that time, because all the other clubs in the country or in the city were closed. So the vibe and this feeling of it's too hot, too warm, everyone close to each other. That was a nice feeling, and you could see also on the videos. And it's like, for example, it's a set that I would still watch it over and over again, and I won't get tired of it. So that first one is really, out of those 3 years since I've been coming here, still the one that stands out the most during those 3 years. It's true, years are passing by, and my perspective of being a DJ has changed a bit. Like, for example, now I had the chance also to do DJ for like a full year or a year and a half, like just DJing. But there's not only DJing in life, there's also producing, there's also events, which I'm doing right now. I don't know if it's because of the age, but maybe also other priorities in life that made me think, okay, do I see myself still DJing for that long? Like, unless my name is David Guetta, of course, to DJ at his 50s. But I don't know. Sometimes I would love to, but in my opinion, if it happens, it happens. But now I'm just, securing my future with my personal life, so that there's still DJing, if not DJing, music at least, or entertainment. That's for now how I see it. So this is my vision for now. So the emotions that I'm chasing there is, I think personally, I love how people react when, they hear something that is uncommon, like, oh, how can you go from Afro to baile, or how can you go from baile to club, to even sometimes now we have electronic baile, for example, which is popping right now. I don't know, this face, this expression that I see on the crowd, like the stank face, and when they're dancing, it gives me, this feeling, oh, I did the job, I helped them at least, and most specifically here, discover a new genre, a new music that they're used to listen. So that's always an achievement personally for me, and also for, I think, the scene that I'm repping. I'm not saying I'm the official representative of the scene, but for our scene, it's always a big win to see people vibing to edits, and not just to originals, because that's how I am. That's always how I've always been, and yeah, that's how it goes for now with the music. I would say intimate rooms. Big stages are nice, and I love it because the sound system is good. It's open airs and stuff, so the feeling is always nice. There are still sometimes some guidelines, some artistic directory that I have to follow in those big stages sometimes, or maybe it depends of whoever books me, but where I find mostly myself is in small rooms, because, for example, big stages I would do like an hour and a half to do myself, like to give this intimacy and to find myself in the music is maybe when I do it all night long. Like, for example, in Brussels, I do this once a year now. I used to do that every time, but I'm doing it all night long at this place called Café Belga. That's where I find myself, because, bro, you gotta go through 5 hours to your whole repertoire of music. That's where I find myself. So that's what I prefer, but I can't do that every time though. I think personally, I wouldn't separate the DJ and an architect of energy. It can be one, actually, if that's my own perspective of being a DJ, because the DJ is the one who controls the crowd, is the one who builds the vibe whenever you're booked, if it's in a warm-up or a closing or prime time. So the DJ is actually the architect of the night. So he's the one who's setting the flow for the whole evening. So DJs and architect of energy, it's one thing for sure. The thing is, it's hard, for sure. It's difficult to put the music in the center of the core of the event, of the concept. because people nowadays, they've been, educated and lured into the same music every time, every day. But that's a challenge. That's a challenge that, for example, Kultura House is doing me. I'm doing that with Kultura. Then there's so many other collectives all around the world that are doing. And shout out to everyone doing that. And it's hard, but in the end, it will take time. But once it's happening, and I think here it's happening for sure. That's another achievement, like a big win, and then you'll be recognized as one of the pioneers or one of the people who really contributed to this new concept of having the music at the center of the event and not just the background noises and stuff like that. So I think you just have to stick with it and just believe in the vision, and that's how it's gonna go. Prishtina, and I could see it yesterday, like before the other two events. I didn't start it to build the crowd, there was Meeks or Escoman, shout out to them. And yesterday was the first time I was like, okay, I start the party, but I also end the party. I am the party actually. So when I started, I was seeing people coming by, and then I was like, okay, let's try to build something. It was truly gratifying to see everyone vibing. We even, I think, extended the evening of an hour and a half, something like that. And it was cool. It was cool, and that's why I like it. The energy was raw. It's not people who wants to show off or something like that. Yesterday, the energy was raw. Because, yeah, we're not in a club, we're in a bar. I don't think they do those kind of parties. Where Prishtina really truly stand out is open-mindedness of the crowd, even though it's my third time here. And when I'm hearing, the scene here, it's pretty commercial, mainstream. They were with it. Sorry for my word, but they were with it. And that's where Prishtina always stand out, for their open-mindedness and they're willing to hear something new. First of all is the food, because all the grill stuff. We do a lot of grill in back home. And I think also is just, there's a feeling, I don't know how to explain, but when we were driving along the road, I was like, yeah, because I'm from Belgium, and then when I compare Belgium, so Europe to Manila, it's different. It's how we say in French, it's le bled. And so when I arrive here, and always when I come here, I'm like, yeah, I'm a bled. I'm at the bled. So it's just this feeling, you're not in I don't know, in countries like Belgium or stuff like that, in Europe. You're in le bled. That's how we say. The advice for young DJs who would like to go into, a scene where maybe there's no one suggesting this genre, is to really go for it and stick with it. And it's funny because we had the conversation yesterday with a DJ who's doing D&B, for example, and he can't find any spots where to do it. So my advice, for example, for that kind of scenario and for any genre is just to keep on being who you are. If you love what you do, people will recognize you and know that you're known for doing that thing. Like, for example, for me in Brussels, I was known for always dropping edits from SoundCloud, finding those gems. 7 years later, people know, Tanaflow, if you book him, he's gonna play edits. I don't need to explain myself. So just trust the process, just trust your vision, and just stick with it and remain focused. It's not gonna be easy, to be honest. There's gonna be a lot of obstacles. Some people will say, what the fuck are you doing? What's this music? Stop what you're doing. It's part of the process, but you will see if you really push yourself super hard, there's no secret. Work hard, play hard. So that's my advice for young DJs nowadays. And even for the prices, sometimes in the beginning, if the budget is low, I mean, at least you can have some practice, you can have some content, and you can have also some people in the crowd, or even people who were just passing by. They say, oh, this is new, oh, and maybe that guy knows another guy who knows a party organizer, or who has maybe a project sometimes that say, oh, I want to do something different. Oh, let me call him because he's playing different than all the other DJs. That's how things can go super easily and fast. So stick with your project and stick with your vision, and the rest will follow. I think I would say to young Tanaflow I would say, that's a good question. Young Tanaflow, what would you do? I think Young Tanaflow, yeah, I think I would have done more. Like, done more with the I don't give a fuck vision. Because I was giving this advice for young DJs to stick with the vision, but before I was, complying too much with some people with their artist direction. Like, I have to play this and this and that. I think I just had to, I just wanted to please people. I'm a people pleaser, like my wife says, and I think I just had to remain myself, so that every set that I've done, I'm happy afterwards, because I would be accepting gigs where, for example, I was not happy with my set because it was not the music that I'm always playing. It's just music that the club or organizer wants. And I think I would say to young Tana, just, stay yourself and be true to yourself, so that at least you'll be happy of every time that you've played, this feeling, this was a good night. This was a good gig. So that's my advice for young Tana. I think Ekani is super underrated. Ekani, that's my bro. And I know he deserves more shine, for example, for what he's doing. Bree also deserves more shine, because they've been doing this since quite a while. I would say Sky Dominic. Sky Dominic by far is one of my favorite DJs for his skills. He deserves, to be known worldwide, to do like a World Tour also. I would also say, who else? I would also say for producers, it's also Ekani Bree. I would also say Dahlia. So Dahlia from Malaysia. Dahlia is someone who's been doing like wonderful and clean stuff. He deserves, to be known more. But I think maybe because the fact that he's in Malaysia for his scene, because he's into disco house and house, that scene could be, booming more for him if he comes to Europe, and I think he's coming to Europe. But Daya is one of the producers to look out. I would love to be with Jael. Jael is one of my goats also and inspirations for DJing, and luckily I can call him a friend. So Jael always inspires me for when he's playing, so that would be my dream B2B. For the lineup also, I would add Sky Dominic again. I would also have Orange Juice Asia, the OGA boys on the lineup. I would also have FS Green, who's killing it, smashing it. I would also add the whole bunch of franchise, Bree, Osiv, and my boy Ekani, because Ekani, that's with whom I'm always doing back-to-back. So if I could have all these people in the lineup, I think the earth will shake.
Awesome. Everyone talks about their best shows. What about your worst?
Where everything went wrong. When was that? So there was a show in Belgium, in the north side, so nearby the seaside. And I played my thing. People were vibing, but the owner didn't like it at all. Like he keeps on complaining with the event organizer, and I was supposed to play, I think 2 hours, and I finally played 1 hour because the owner I think he would have gone mad or shut down the party. He said, "Yo, you gotta fix this." So luckily the event organizer is really polite, and he's a cool guy. So he asked me gently if it's okay for me to stop. Like, but I'm gonna still get paid for the same amount. So I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And told me, "Yeah, bro, I'm really, really, really sorry. I love what you're doing, but the owner is getting crazy." I'm like, "Okay, sure, no problem." So yeah, I mean, it was far though. An event when everything went wrong. I think it was in my first years of when I was playing. It was in Ghent, and I went there. I remember it was for closing set. So we came from Brussels, and it was that time I didn't have a car, so I had to, hire a car. It's like a mobility share car thing to go to Ghent. And I was with before my wife was, of course, my girlfriend. And so we drove together. It was, I think, 2 or 3 in the morning. So try to imagine, we go from Brussels, we arrived there. And we arrived there, the security guard is like, "You cannot come in." I'm like, "What?" Like, "No." I'm like, "But I'm the DJ. There's no more DJs." I'm like, "What?" And so he was really standing on his ground, like, "No, no." I'm like, "Okay, let me call the organizer." And then he came and yeah, he's a DJ. And then he was, "Oh yeah?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he let us through, but he watches me like this. I'm like, "What the fuck? Thank you for the welcoming vibe." And then we arrived, and we saw there was no one. Actually, there was not that much people, and so I was supposed to play an hour and a half and stuff like that. I only played 15 minutes, bro. 15 minutes because they had to shut down it was downstairs. It was because there was two rooms, and so they had to close the room. So try to imagine from Brussels, we arrived there. We had such a welcoming vibe from the security guard, and then they told me, "Okay, we're closing the room." Like, and it was a booking where I didn't receive anything because it was just for content for Shine. So it was my first year. So that was a shitty one, but a good memory. Yeah, so Kultura has evolved a lot. Like last year, we've established Kultura as a non-lucrative association. So the goal is always to, shape the culture of Brussels, the scene, not only the nightlife, but really like the music scene, the culture. And upcoming, we have an event where we're collaborating with Le Jeune Club, another collective in Brussels. And we're inviting Bronca, who's doing electronic baile from Brazil. We have Parismatic from Apartment Life from the UK. And we also have Bomeng and Raquel from Brussels. And Ikani, Golden Boy from Le Jeune Club, and me gonna be playing. So that's gonna be a strong event just to send a strong message to Brussels, even to Belgium. Like, this kind of event, you can find it there. It's not just, your top 50 Spotify playlist or the bottle service club. It's nice. They do their thing. They win their money. I love it. But we're there also to suggest and present something different than the others. So that's the upcoming event. It's a big event. There's also listening sessions coming up where the goal of those listening sessions is you put, for example, an album and then you listen to it, and then we talk about it, we share about it, we exchange about it. So that's one of the events that are coming up. Also other events at different venues. And the goal is really to educate the scene, most specifically starting 21 years old till, up, so that they know that there are so many, but so many different genres, so many good artists in other genres to be discovered and to be listened to. So that's our upcoming projects for Kultura.